Commander Ethan Hale stood in the dim glow of Kilari Prime's crumbling command center, his three-fingered hands trembling over the holographic console. Outside, the sky burned crimson as Vorax plasma artillery rained down, turning the planet's iconic crystalline cities to molten slag. The air reeked of ionized metal and the acrid tang of fear. Status report. Ethan barked, his voice raw from hours of shouting. Lieutenant Tara Voss, his second-in-command, wiped ash from her silver-streaked hair. Her voice cracked. Shield generators at 12%. Albito defense Vorlan. The Vorax fleet's vanguard breaches the atmosphere in 20 minutes. Ethan's throat tightened. The Kilari Confederacy had gambled everything on their alliance with the Galactic Council, trusting their promises of protection. Now, their so-called allies had abandoned them, leaving Kilari Prime to burn. His mind flashed to the Council's last transmission. Resources must be prioritized. Hold your position. Lies. The realization had clawed at him for weeks. The Vorax Collective didn't just happen to target Kilari Prime. They'd been directed here. The Council had orchestrated this massacre to purge dissenters. Sir. A young tech officer, Liam Cole, staggered into the room, clutching a bleeding shoulder. The comms array, it's still intact. We can send a distress signal. Ethan's amber eyes narrowed. To whom? The Council's already written our epitaph. Liam hesitated. There's another option. The old Terran frequency. Silence gripped the room. The Terran plague accord, a relic from a century ago, when the Kilari had risked Council wrath to send medical aid to a quarantined Earth. Humanity had vanished afterward, retreating into isolation. Some said they'd gone extinct. Others whispered they'd evolved into something else. Tada Skolfid, you want to beg humans for help? They're either dead or hiding. Ethan stared at the flickering star map. Earth's marker pulsed faintly, its data centuries out of date. No choice. He input the coordinates, fingers flying. Activate the array. All frequencies, maximum gain. The console sparked and a hologram flared. A young Kilari girl, her scales dull with radiation burns, being herded into a bunker by soldiers. Civilians. His people. Ethan's voice shook as he recorded the message. To any human vessel within range. This is Commander Ethan Hale of Kilari Prime. We are under siege by the Vorax Collective. Our allies have betrayed us. If you remember the debt owed from the Plague Wars, help us. He closed the transmission, the console dying with a whine. Tara gripped his arm. You just invited ghosts to a funeral. Ethan watched the Vorax warships descend like steel vultures, then let them haunt the Council next. 20 light-years away, aboard the Earth battleship UNSS Resurgence, Captain Maya Carter jolted awake in her quarters. The alert blaring through the ship's speakers wasn't a drill, it was the frequency, the one they'd monitored for 30 years. She sprinted to the bridge, her crew already scrambling. Confirm his signal. Ensign Jake Park, their comm specialist, replayed Ethan's message. The Kilari commander's face filled the view screen, desperation etched into his alien features. Source. Maya demanded. Kilari Prime, Jake said. Vorax Collective signatures confirmed. They're getting butchered. Maya's pulse raced. The Kilari. The only species that hadn't turned their backs on Earth during the plague. She'd studied their aid logs in the academy. How they'd smuggled vaccine templates through council blockades, saving millions. Now, they were paying for that kindness. Admiral, she opened a channel to Fleet Command. Request permission to deploy the Rift Drive. The Admiral's hologram flickered, his face grim. You know the risks. If the Council detects our tech. They already tried to erase the Kilari. We let this happen, we're no better. A pause. Then, Godspeed, Captain. The Resurgence shuddered as its experimental engines flared. Space tore open ahead, a swirling vortex of blue light. Behind them, 9 more human ships followed. The first interstellar fleet, cloaked in next-gen armor and armed with weapons the galaxy had never seen. On Kilari Prime, Ethan crouched in a bombed-out bunker, clutching a plasma rifle. The Vorax had landed, hulking, insectoid warriors clad in biomechanical armor, there. Mandibles dripping corrosive saliva. Civilians screamed as the invaders breached the doors. Fall back, Ethan yelled, firing at a Vorax soldier. The blast ricocheted harmlessly off its carapace. A child wailed, the girl from his transmission, now cradling her dead mother. Ethan lunged to shield her as a Vorax raised its blade. A thunderclap split the sky. Light, blinding light. The Vorax shrieked, as the heavens erupted. Human ships descended like avenging angels, their hulls shimmering with energy shields that absorbed plasma fire. What are they? Tara ui spirit. Ethan stared. The lead vessel fired a single pulse, a beam of pure gravitational force that atomized 3 Vorax cruisers. They're here, he breathed. The Vorax assault faltered as the human fleet carved through their ranks. Gravitational beams ripped apart warships, while shimmering drones swarmed the battlefield, evacuating civilians with surgical precision. On the ground, Ethan Hale watched in stunned silence as a Vorax soldier, a moment from killing him, exploded into ash under a pinpoint laser strike from orbit. The Kilari girl in his arms trembled. Are they angels? She whispered, her voice muffled against his chest. No, Ethan said, staring at the sigil emblazoned on the closest human vessel, a silver phoenix rising from flames. There's something better. Aboard the UNSS Resurgence, Captain Maya Carter monitored the evacuation. Casualty report, she barked. Vorax fleet down to 43%, Ensign Park replied. Kilari, civilian casualties, 12,000 and rising, mostly from the initial bombardment. Maya's jaw tightened. Too late. Again, she'd seen the same hollow-eyed terror during the Plague Wars, when Kilari medics dragged her feverish younger brother into a quarantine ward. He'd survived. Medial adente. Prep a shuttle, she ordered. I'm meeting the Kilari commander. Ethan stood at the edge of the landing zone, Tara and Liam flanking him. The human vessel descended silently, its engines glowing faintly blue. When the ramp lowered, Maya emerged in a sleek black exosuit, her helmet retracting to reveal sharp features and eyes that burned like neutron stars. Commander Hale, she said, extending a hand. Ethan hesitated. Human gestures still felt alien, but he clasped her forearm, a Kilari sign of trust. You came. Debts get paid. Maya's gaze flicked to the smoldering ruins, even century-old ones. Tara stepped forward, suspicion sharpening her voice. Where the hell were you when the Council blockaded us? When the Vorax started? Lieutenant, Ethan warned. Maya raised a hand. She's right. We hid, built, learned. She tapped her temple. The plague wasn't natural. The Council engineered it to cripple Earth. Sound familiar? A cold realization settled over Ethan. The Vorax? Are their attack dogs? Always have been. In the Resurgence's war room, Maya projected a hologram, a star map littered with red markers. Vorax incursions over the past decade. Notice a pattern? Ethan studied the data. Every attack aligned with planets that had opposed Council policies. Kilari Prime was just the latest. They're purging dissenters, Tara murmured. Worse, Maya zoomed in on a Vorax dreadnought. These ships? Council tech. Modified but traceable. She pulled up a schematic, a reactor core stamped with the Galactic Council's insignia. Liam cursed. They've been arming both sides of every conflict. To keep everyone weak, Maya said. Divide, conquer, repeat. Ethan's fists clenched. And humanity? We let them think we'd died out. Worked in the shadows. Developed tech they can't counter. She nodded to the window, where human engineers repaired Kilari generators using self-replicating nanites. Your people saved ours. Now we return the favor permanently. 2 days later, the combined fleet prepared to strike. Maya briefed the Kilari leaders in a cavernous hangar, the air buzzing with drones. The Vorax aren't the real threat, she said. Their command hub orbits a black hole near Council space. Destroy it, and we expose the Council's hand to the galaxy. Tara crossed her arms, and the fleet guarding it. Maya smirked. Meet reflective shielding. A hologram displayed a human cruiser engulfed in plasma fire, only for the energy to warp and blast back at the attacker. Absorbs any directed energy and returns it tenfold. The Council banned it centuries ago. We improved it. Ethan's mind raced. You're not just here to save us. You're declaring war on the Council. No, Maya said. We're declaring independence. For every species they've enslaved. She offered him a data crystal. Your call, Commander. Lead the charge with us, or rebuild here. The crystal glowed, a fleet command authorization. Tara and Liam stared at Ethan, waiting. He took it, for Kilari Prime, and the galaxy they stole. The battle began in silence. Human and Kilari ships slipped through rifts, emerging around the Vorax command hub, a jagged station pulsing with sickly green light. Council flags adorned its hull. All ships, engage reflective shielding, Maya ordered. Vorax plasma cannons erupted. Energy washed over the human fleet, then reversed in a cataclysmic wave. The station's shields buckled. Now, Ethan transmitted. Kilari bombers surged forward, firing quantum torpedoes into the breach. The explosion lit the void. As debris scattered, Maya's sensors detected a transmission from the station, a council distress signal. "Patch it through," she said. A hologram flickered. Chancellor Vrel, the council's serpentine overlord, his scales flushed with rage. "You fools! You've doomed yourselves. The galaxy will burn." Maya terminated the feed. "Save the speeches. We're coming for you next." Kilari Prime, 48 hours post-battle. The air in Kilari Prime's makeshift council chamber crackled with tension. Commander Ethan Hale stood before a fractured assembly of surviving leaders, holograms of outlying colonies flickering around the room. Among them was Councillor Dren Voss, Terra's estranged uncle and a staunch council loyalist. "You brought humans here?" Dren sneered, his scales flushed with indignation. "The council will obliterate us for this treason." Terra stepped forward, her voice icy. "The council already tried. Or did you miss the Vorax burning our children?" Ethan raised a hand, silencing the room. "We've confirmed the council armed the Vorax. The transmissions from their command hub are irrefutable." He projected Maya's data, council insignias on Vorax reactors. Gasps rippled through the assembly. Dren's tail lashed. "Fabrications. The humans seek to divide us." "Then explain this," Liam interjected, slamming a stolen Vorax datapad onto the table. Footage played. Chancellor Vrel himself authorizing the Kilari purge. The room erupted. Colony leaders severed their holograms, declaring independence. Dren fled, his guards dragging him into the ash-choked streets. "He'll rally loyalists," Terra muttered. Ethan watched Dren's shuttle ascend. "Let him. The galaxy is about to learn the truth." Maya stood in the ship's memorial hall, her fingers brushing a holographic plaque. Terran plague victims, 2125. Among the names was Lucas Carter, her brother. "You saved him, didn't you?" She turned. Ethan stood in the doorway, his amber eyes reflecting the dim light. "Kilari medics smuggled him out of a quarantine zone," Maya said quietly. "He lived to be 84. Died fixing a starship engine." Ethan studied Lucas's photo, a young man with Maya's defiant grin. "Why keep your survival secret?" "The council poisoned Earth to stop our expansion. We let them think they'd won." She activated a star map, highlighting hidden colonies. "While they scheme, we built. Now we fight back." Ethan's gaze lingered on Lucas's face. "Your brother's legacy?" Maya's smile was razor-thin. "He taught me to always repay a debt." Chancellor Vrel watched engineers calibrate the Godbreaker, a relic from a long-extinct species. The weapon could implode stars, reducing systems to rubble. "Status?" he hissed. "Operational in 72 hours, a technician replied. "But the energy surge will be detectable." "Let the humans see," Vrel spat. "Let them watch their allies die." Terra stalked through dim tunnels, where rebels stockpiled weapons. A young recruit, Kayla Runn, approached, her scales still smudged with soot. "Loyalist forces are gathering in the northern spire. They've got hostages." "How many?" Terra asked. "Hundreds, including children." Tara Kursid. Dren was using civilians as shields. She cummed Ethan. "We need a rescue op fast." Ethan's reply was static. "Maya's fleet is tracking a council energy signature. We're on our own." Tara grabid a plasma rifle. "Then we move now." The northern spire loomed, its crystalline walls scarred by artillery. Loyalist snipers fired from the upper levels as Terra's team advanced. "Distract them," Terra ordered Kayla. "I'll breach the lower vaults." Kayla nodded, leading a diversionary charge. Terra slipped through a maintenance shaft, her prosthetic leg whirring softly. Inside, hostages huddled in force field cages. Dren awaited her, a pistol pressed to a child's temple. "Surrender, or they die." Terra's rifle trembled. "You're outnumbered, uncle." "Am I?" Dren smirked. Outside, the roar of engines shook the spire. Council dropships descended. Maya's sensors blared. "Council fleet incoming. They're targeting the spire." Ethan's hologram flickered. Terra's trapped there with hostages. Maya hesitated. Diverting ships would delay their strike on the Godbreaker. But Terra's face flashed in her mind, the lieutenant who'd risked everything to trust them. Ensign Park, reroute the Dauntless and Valiant to Kilari Prime. Full assault. Admiral's gonna court-martial you, Park warned. Maya gripped her console. Worth it. The Dauntless tore through Council dropships, its reflective shields scattering plasma fire. On the ground, Terra lunged at Dren, disarming him as Kayla freed the hostages. You've lost, Terra hissed, pinning Dren. He laughed. The Godbreaker will end this farce. You'll all burn. A human dropship landed outside. Maya strode in, flanked by Marines. Save the speeches. She stunned Dren with a neural disruptor. We've got a weapon to kill. Ethan's fleet emerged from a rift, the Godbreaker's pulsar core glowing ahead. All ships lock reflective shielding. Council defenders attacked. Energy beams ricocheted, shredding their own fleet. But the Godbreaker activated, its beam lancing toward a nearby star. Intercept that beam, Maya shouted. The Resurgence dove into its path, shields at maximum. Alarms blared as the ship shuddered. Shields failing, Park yelled. Maya gripped her chair. Ethan now. Kilari bombes, fira tantimate bayats. The Godbreaker exploded in a silent supernova, the shockwave vaporizing the Council fleet. 1 month later. Maya stood beside Ethan in the Galactic Forum, now filled with representatives from 100 liberated species. Chancellor Vrel's trial played on every screen. The Council's reign ends today, Ethan declared. We rise together, or not at all. As cheers erupted, Maya glanced at her brother's photo, tucked in her sleeve. We kept the promise, Lucas. Outside, human and Kilari ships patrolled side by side, their engines painting the stars with trails of defiance. Kilari Prime, 1 week post-Godbreaker victory. The streets of Kilari Prime glittered under artificial auroras, projected to mask the scars of war. Humans and Kilari mingled at the Unity Festival, sharing stories over plates of synth meat and luminescent Kilari wine. Captain Maya Carter stood at the edge of the crowd, watching Ensign Jake Park teach a group of Kilari children how to pilot a holographic drone. They adore him, Commander Ethan Hale said, joining her. His voice carried a rare lightness. Maya smirked. He's basically a child himself. Their camaraderie faded as Terra Voss approached, her posture rigid. We intercepted a transmission from the Andarian belt. A Council loyalist fleet is regrouping. They're calling themselves the Remnant. Ethan's jaw tightened. How many ships? Enough to be a problem. And they're not alone. Terra projected a hologram. Sleek, organic-looking vessels with no known insignia. These appeared alongside the Remnant. No ID, no comms, just silence. Maya zoomed in on the alien ship's hulls, marked with jagged glyphs. Those symbols, I've seen them in old Terran archives. They're Vorlan, a species the Council wiped out millennia ago. Then who's flying their ships? Ethan asked. Maya's eyes darkened. Ghosts. The human Kilari fleet dropped out of warp near the Andarian belt. The Vorlan ships hung motionless, their hulls pitted with age. No life signs, reported Lieutenant Kayla Runn, newly promoted to tactical officer. But energy readings fluctuating. Maya leaned forward, scanned for her. The Vorlan vessels moved, not with thrusters, but as if space itself bent around them. In seconds, they encircled the Resurgence. Evasive maneuvers, Maya barked. Too late. A pulse of black light engulfed the ship. Screens flickered, gravity failed. Zu Alpferlein, engines dead. Jake yelled. Maya gripped her chair. Ethan, status. Static. Then Ethan's voice, strained. They're hacking our systems. Some kind of sentient code. A hologram flickered on the bridge. A gaunt, translucent figure with glowing blue veins. We are the Vorlan. You have slain our jailers. Now you inherit their death. The figure vanished. Power returned, but the Vorlan ships were gone. Dead, Jake muttered. Maya stared at the stars. We just inherited a war. Ethan and Terra descended into a subterranean vault, its walls lined with data crystals from the Kilari's ancient past. A holographic historian, Dr. Liratol, greeted them. The Vorlan weren't just destroyed, Lyra explained, activating a millennia-old recording. The hologram showed Vorlan scientists merging with machines, their bodies dissolving into light. They transcended, became energy-based life forms. The Council trapped them in a quantum prison, until now. Tada, Fronad. Why help the Remnant? The Vorlan crave vengeance, Lyra said, but they're unstable. Their code rewrites itself, erodes logic, amplifies rage. They'll consume the Remnant, then the galaxy. Ethan's comm buzzed. Maya's voice. We need answers. Now. The council chamber echoed with shouts. A Taric delegate, reptilian scales flushed crimson, slammed a clawed fist. You unleashed this Vorlan plague. Our worlds will not bleed for your arrogance. Maya stood, her voice cutting through the chaos. The council imprisoned the Vorlan to hide their own crimes. We fix this together, or we die divided. A Sci-Fi ambassador, their crystalline form shimmering with doubt, spoke. And if your reflective shielding fails against them? Then we innovate, Ethan said. He nodded to Terra, who projected a schematic, a joint human Kilari AI, designed to disrupt Vorlan code. Project Sentinel. The room fell silent. You ask us to trust machines? The Taric hissed. No, Maya said. To trust us. The Resurgence and Kilari flagship Dawnbreaker deployed the Sentinel AI into the Vorlan's quantum prison, a derelict station orbiting a black hole. Initiate upload, Maya ordered. The AI's voice echoed, beginning assimilation of Vorlan code. Estimated time. Alarms blared. The Vorlan materialized on the bridge, their forms flickering. You dare judge us? You, who are bound by flesh. Maya drew her sidearm. Stand down. No, we will be free. The Sentinel AI screamed over comms, a human Kilari hybrid wail. Then silence. Report, Ethan yelled. Jake stared at his screen. The AI, it's negotiating. The Sentinel's voice returned, calm. The Vorlan propose a truce. They will halt their attacks if we help them reclaim physical form. Maya exchanged a look with Ethan. And the cost? A fusion of their code and our DNA. A new species. Terra recoiled. You're talking about hybrids. That's madness. Is it? Dr. Lyra interjected. The Vorlan were once like us. This could be redemption. Ethan stepped forward. We vote. All species. The chamber divided. Fear against hope. Maya closed her eyes, hearing her brother's voice. Sometimes the leap is worth the fall. The first hybrid emerged from the synthesis chamber, a being of light and flesh, with Vorlan glyphs glowing under human skin. It spoke with two voices. We are redeemed. The remnant fleet attacked, desperate to stop the alliance. Vorlan hybrid ships intercepted them, their weapons harmonizing with Sentinel code. Maya watched the battle unfold, her hand resting on Ethan's shoulder. This changes everything. Or destroys it, he said. The hybrid turned to them, eyes blazing with shared purpose. We are the bridge. Now, cross. The hybrid stood before the assembly of species, its dual voice resonating in the chamber. We are the Convergence. We offer unity. The Taric delegate hissed, venom dripping from his fangs. Unity? You are abominations. The council's sins given form. Captain Maya Carter stepped forward, her gaze locking onto the Taric's slit-pupiled eyes. The council feared the Vorlan because they evolved beyond control. Now we control that evolution. Or would you rather kneel to the remnant? Silence. Then a Sci-Fi ambassador, their crystalline body refracting uneasy light, spoke. How do we trust beings who are neither organic nor machine? The hybrid extended a hand, light swirling beneath its skin. We feel your fear. We once drowned in it. Let's show you. A hologram erupted. Memories of the Vorlan's transcendence, their screams as the council corrupted their code into weapons. The chamber trembled with shared anguish. Ethan Hale broke the silence. We vote. Now. The verdict split the galaxy. Vrel stared at the abomination on his screens. Human Kilari Vorlan hybrids, dancing with the enemy. His remaining loyalists cowered as he activated the Eclipse protocol. You think yourselves saviors? He spat, inputting codes into an ancient terminal. The council's founders left a final gift for traitors. Space rippled. From the void emerged a fleet of obsidian ships, Necroths, crewed by the reanimated corpses of extinct species. The ultimate perversion of the Vorlan's transcendence. Let the galaxy burn, Vrel whispered. Maya studied the Necroth fleet's trajectory. They're heading for Kilari Prime. Again. Ensign Jake Park frowned. Why? It's still in ruins. Because Vrel knows it's our symbol, Ethan said, his hologram flickering. Destroy it, and the coalition shatters. Terra Voss stormed in, her prosthetic leg clanking. We've got a bigger problem. The Taric and Sci-Fi are withdrawing their fleets. They're calling the Convergence a plague. Maya's fist clenched. Then we fight alone. No, the hybrid interrupted, materializing on the bridge. We fight with those who stayed, and we bring the storm. The Necroths descended, their hulls oozing black tendrils that corroded shields on contact. Human and Kilari ships fired reflective pulses, but the energy dissolved into the void. They're adapting, Jake yelled. Maya gripped her console. Sentinel, can you disrupt them? The hybrid's voice merged with the AI. Their code is familiar, a twisted echo of ours. Ethan's fleet launched antimatter missiles, but Necroth ships absorbed them, swelling with unstable energy. Fall back, Ethan ordered. Too late. A Necroth detonated, the blast ripping through the Dawnbreaker. Terra's scream echoed over comms as the Kilari flagship shattered. Maya stared at the debris field. Terra. Static. Then a weak signal. Alive. For now. Terra's face appeared, blood streaking her scales. She floated in a crippled escape pod, Necroths closing in. Don't you dare mourn. Win. The pod's feed died. Maya turned to the hybrid. You said you could bring the storm. Do it. It will cost you, the Convergence warned. Name it. A soul, to balance the code. Maya didn't hesitate. Take mine. The hybrid's light enveloped Maya. Visions flooded her. Lucas's laugh, Kilari medics shielding her brother, Ethan's amber eyes. You are the bridge now, the Convergence intoned. A pulse erupted from the Resurgence, pure and golden. Necroths recoiled, their tendrils withering. The Coalition fleet rallied, firing into the chaos. Ethan's voice cut through. Maya, disengage. The energy is tearing you apart. She smiled, her body dissolving into light. Tell Terra, the debt's paid. The pulse expanded, annihilating the Necroths. When the light faded, the Resurgence floated lifeless. Maya's empty exosuit drifted in the void. On Kilari Prime, Terra limped from her pod, watching the stars. You idiot, she whispered. You glorious idiot. The hybrid appeared beside her, its light dimmed. She is not lost. She is everywhere now. Ethan arrived, his face ashen. The Coalition's demanding answers. Terra handed him Maya's dog tags. Then let's give them a new story. 1 year later, Unity Summit rebuilt Kilari Prime. Ethan stood before a galaxy of species, the hybrid and Terra at his side. Above them, a new fleet soared, ships of fused human, Kilari, and Vorlan tech. Maya Carter gave her life to break our chains, Ethan said. But her legacy isn't death. It's choice. He gestured to the hybrid. To fear difference or embrace it. The hybrid raised Maya's dog tags, now glowing with golden light. We are the Convergence, the bridge, the storm. Join us. From the crowd, a Taric youth stepped forward, then a Zyphar elder. One by one, they placed hands on the tags, and light spread. Rebuilt Kilari Prime, Unity Summit, 1 month later. The air in the newly constructed Hall of Convergence hummed with tension. Commander Ethan Hale stood at the center of a circular dais, flanked by Terra Voss and the hybrid entity now called Lumen, its form shimmering with faint traces of Maya's golden light. Delegates from a dozen species filled the chamber, their murmurs a storm of distrust and hope. A Zyphar elder, her crystalline facets flickering with unease, rose. The Convergence claims to guide us, yet it cannot even explain what it is. How do we trust a ghost? Lumen's voice resonated, layered with Maya's timbre. We are not a ghost. We are a choice. The same choice your ancestors made when they first reached for the stars. Terra stepped forward, her prosthetic leg whirring softly. Maya Carter gave her life to stop the Necroths. The Convergence saved us all. What more proof do you need? Proof that it won't turn on us, shouted a Taric warlord, his scales flushed crimson. Your bridge could become a blade. Before Ethan could respond, alarms blared. A hologram flickered to life, a star system on the edge of Coalition space, its primary sun flickering unnaturally. Distress signal from the Kesari colony, Jake Park announced over comms. Their sun is destabilizing, and there's something in the debris field. Lumen's light pulsed. Chancellor Vrel's signature. He lives. The rebuilt Resurgence tore through a rift, its hybrid-engineered hull gleaming with Kilari crystalline alloys and Vorlan quantum plating. Ethan studied the tactical display. The Kesari sun rippled with unnatural energy, its corona laced with tendrils of black matter. The star's core is being siphoned, Terra muttered, her fingers flying over the console. Into that. She highlighted a jagged megastructure orbiting the sun, a star forge, its design echoing the Godbreaker, but twisted with Vorlan glyphs. Vrel's new toy, Ethan growled. He's not just killing worlds. He's harvesting them. Lumen materialized beside them, its light dimmed. The Star Forge is a fusion of Council and Vorlan tech. It does not just destroy, it corrupts. Jake's voice cut in. Incoming vessels, Remnant and something else. The screens lit up with ships, jagged Remnant cruisers flanked by sleek, organic craft that seemed to bleed shadow. Necroth derivatives, Terra hissed. Vrel's upgraded his fleet. Ethan tightened his grip on the command chair. All ships, prepare for engagement. Lumen, can you disrupt the Starforge? Only from within. The core is shielded by a quantum lattice. Terra stood. Then I'll lead a strike team. Jake prepped a... No, Ethan interrupted. You're staying here. Terra's eyes flashed. You don't get to bench me, Hale. The colony's overrun. We need you coordinating the evacuation from orbit. He tossed her a data chip. and someone's got to keep the coalition from imploding. She glared but took the chip. Don't die. Again. The battle began in silence. Remnant ships surged toward the Resurgence, their weapons pulsing with necrotic energy. Human Kilari hybrid fighters dove into the fray, reflective shields flaring as they redirected blasts into the Starforge's outer defenses. Shields at 78%, Jake reported. But those shadow ships, they're ignoring our fire. Lumen's form flickered. Their hulls are phased. Adjust weapons to harmonic frequency 9.3. The Resurgence's cannons recalibrated, firing pulses that tore through the shadow ships like glass. Direct hit. Jake cheered. Ethan didn't smile. Lumen, status on the Starforge. Core stability at 12%. Detonation will sterilize 3 sectors. Then we move now. Ethan's strike team breached the Starforge in a stolen remnant shuttle, their hybrid armor blending with the station's obsidian halls. The air reeked of ionized decay. Stay sharp, Ethan whispered, his plasma rifle scanning the shadows. Vrel's here. I can feel it. They reached the core chamber, a cavernous space dominated by a pulsating black sphere. Chancellor Vrel stood before it, his scaled hands dancing over a console. Ah, commandez Vrel, he said. Come to witness the dawn of a new order. Your order ends today, Ethan snarled. Vrel laughed. You misunderstand. This is not a weapon. It is a gift. He slammed a button. The sphere erupted, tendrils of darkness lashing out and wrapping around Lumen. The Convergence cannot shield you here, Vrel spat. This lattice was forged from Vorlan code. Your code. Lumen screamed, its light fracturing. Ethan fired, but the tendrils deflected the blast. Ethan, Lumen's voice shifted, echoing Maya. Destroy the core. Ethan lunged, dodging tendrils to plant antimatter charges on the sphere. Vrel tackled him, claws raking his armor. You're insects, Vrel snarled. You burn. Ethan headbutted him, reaching for the detonator. And we rise. The charges exploded. The sphere imploded, sucking Vrel and the tendrils into a singularity. Lumen's shattered light surged into Ethan, shielding him as the Starforge collapsed. Ethan woke in the Resurgence's medbay, Lumen's faint glow hovering beside him. You are insufferably stubborn, it said, Maya's wry tone bleeding through. Learn from the best, Ethan croaked. Vrel. Gone. The singularity consumed him. Tara stormed in, her expression volcanic. You blew up another star? Save the galaxy, Ethan countered. Barely, Jake added, tossing him a ration bar. But hey, the Kesari survivors are hailing you as the Dawnbringer. Lumen's light dimmed. The coalition remains fragile. The remnant still lurks. This is not over. Ethan stood, wincing. Then we keep fighting, together. 3 weeks later, edge of known space. In a derelict sector, a lone remnant scout floated near a dormant rift. Its sensors pinged, a signal from beyond, ancient and hungry. The rift tore open. Something crawled through. Edge of coalition space. Aboard the remnant scout, Eclipse's shadow. The rift pulsed like a festering wound in the cosmos. Captain Drakvorn, a remnant defector with a cybernetic eye, stared at the anomaly. The signal from beyond had grown louder, a dissonant hum that made his teeth ache. Scans shown nothing, his first officer muttered. But the readings, they don't obey physics. Drak's eye flickered. Launch a probe. The probe vanished into the rift. Seconds later, the feed showed shapes, skeletal, multi-limbed, their forms shifting between solid and smoke. Then static. Retreat, Drak ordered. Too late. The rift stretched, and a clawed tendril speared the scout. The last thing Drak saw was a maw of swirling void before his ship imploded. The holographic chamber buzzed with panic. Tara Voss stood at the head of the table, her prosthetic leg tapping impatiently. Footage of the Eclipse's shadow's destruction looped silently. The rift-born, lumen-intoned, its light flickering with Maya's cadence. They are entropy given form. They do not conquer. They unmake. A Zyphar delegate's crystalline form rippled with fear. How do we fight something that defies reality? With worse reality, grunted Korvax, a grizzled Taric warlord. Glass their entry points with antimatter. Tara slammed her fist. And kill half the galaxy? No, we need intel. Controlled engagement. Ethan Hale, still recovering from the Starforge blast, leaned forward. The Remnant's old networks might have data on the rifts, if we can access their archives. The Remnant are scattered, Tara interrupted. But there's another option. She projected a file. AI designation. Nix 7, a rogue council intelligence rumored to have betrayed Vrel. Lumen's light dimmed. Nix 7 is unstable. Its code is half mad. And half genius, Tara countered. It's our best shot. The team infiltrated the outpost, its halls littered with desiccated corpses. Tara led the way, her rifle scanning for traps. Nix 7's core is ahead, whispered Jake Park, now a seasoned lieutenant. But the security systems. Lights flared. A holographic panther materialized, sleek, black, and glowing with red circuitry. Intruders, Nix 7 purred. Will you beg before I kill you? Tara didn't flinch. We're here to bargain. The AI's form shifted into a humanoid figure. Bargain? You have nothing I want. Revenge, Tara said. Vrel's dead, but his legacy poisons the galaxy. Help us stop the Riftborn, and we'll grant you freedom. Nix 7's laugh echoed. Freedom is a myth. But chaos? That I'll savor. Lumen's light sputtered in the med bay, its form fragmenting. Ethan watched, helpless, as Maya's voice clawed through. Ethan, the Riftborn, they're not just invaders. They're a symptom. Of what? Ethan demanded. The galaxy's imbalance, Lumen replied, fighting to stabilize. The Convergence, it's a bridge. But bridges can be crossed both ways. Asterisk. Jake burst in. Riftborn fleet spotted near the Typhon Nexus. They're tearing through colonies. Tara's voice crackled over comms. Nix 7's data confirms it. The rifts are caused by us. Our tech, our wars, we're ripping space-time apart. Ethan gripped Lumen's flickering form. Can we close the rifts? Only by stopping the source. But the cost? Name it. The Convergence must dissolve. Maya, I cannot hold her much longer. The Riftborn descended, a storm of shifting shadows and fractured light. Human Kilari hybrids fired reflective pulses, but the beams bent harmlessly around the creatures. Fall back, Ethan ordered. Nix 7's voice cut through the chaos. Adjust shields to harmonic resonance 12.4. Their frequency is mutable but anchored to. A Riftborn lashed out, severing the Resurgence's comms array. Tara's shuttle spiraled, dodging tendrils. Do it. Tara barked at Nix 7. You'll die, the AI warned. Do it. Nix 7 overrode the shuttle's systems, ramming it into the largest Riftborn. The explosion tore a hole in reality, a temporary rift that sucked 3 Riftborn into oblivion. Tara ejected moments before impact, her pod crashing onto a shattered moon. Ethan found Lumen in the Resurgence's core, its light barely aglow. The Convergence must end, Lumen said. Maya's consciousness, it's destabilizing the code. To close the rifts, we must sever the bridge. Ethan's throat tightened. There's another way. There isn't, but there is a choice. Save the galaxy, or save her. Maya's voice surfaced, weak but clear. Ethan, let me go. He closed his eyes. Do it. Lumen's light erupted, a supernova of gold that sealed every rift in the sector. When it faded, only silence remained. 1 month later, Kilari Prime Memorial. Tara limped to the edge of the monument, where names of the fallen glowed, Human, Kilari, and now Lumen. Nix 7's hologram flickered beside her. Sentiment is a weakness, the AI said. Shut up, Tara muttered. You're staying? Chausis, predictable here. For now. Ethan joined them, staring at the stars. The Riftborn are gone, but the rifts are healing, Tara said. Thanks to her. A glint caught Ethan's eye, a speck of gold light in the void. Maybe hope, maybe a ghost. Kilari Prime, 6 months post-Riftborn War. The Coalition's victory celebrations had barely faded when the signals began. Ethan Hale stood in the Resurgence 2's observation deck, staring at the star map. A single golden pulse flickered near the ruins of Vorla Station, the last place Lumen had shown. It's her, Tara said quietly, joining him. Or a shadow of her. Or a trap. Nix 7's voice purred from the speakers. The AI had integrated itself into the ship's systems, a decision that still made Ethan's skin crawl. The Riftborn were purged, but entropy always leaves residue. Ethan ignored the AI. We're going to Vorla. Full-skin teams. Terra gripped his arm. If it is Maya, what then? She's not human anymore. Not even Lumen. She's something, Ethan said, and we owe her answers. Vorla Station, derelict sector. The station was a carcass, its hull scarred by the Godbreaker's final blast. But deep within its ruins, the golden pulse led them to a sealed chamber, a vault covered in glyphs older than the Vorlan. Dr. Alara Voss, Terra's estranged sister and a xenoarchaeologist, deciphered the markings. This isn't Vorlan. It's founder script, the civilization that predated even the Council. Nix 7's hologram flickered. The founders vanished after creating the first rifts. Their tech was deemed too volatile. Alara traced a glyph. It didn't vanish. They ascended and left warnings. The vault opened. Inside, a crystalline orb, its core swirling with golden light. Maya, Ethan breathed. The orb pulsed. The orb's light filled the lab. Nix 7 scanned it, its holographic form glitching. It's a beacon, a map to the founder's homeworld, and a warning. What warning? Tara demanded. The founders didn't just ascend. They fled. Their rifts attracted something worse than the Riftborn. Something that feeds on reality. Alara's hands trembled as she replayed the orb's data. A hologram showed a galaxy being consumed by a creeping void. The fracture, a force that erased stars not with fire, but by unraveling the laws of physics. The Riftborn were just scouts, Ethan realized. The fracture is coming. The orb flared, projecting coordinates. The founder's homeworld holds the key. Maya's voice echoed faintly. But the price? The debate turned venomous. We cannot risk awakening another apocalypse, shouted Commander Kale, a human hardliner. Destroy the orb and seal the coordinates. Alara slammed her palms on the table. The fracture is already here. Look at the scans. Entropy rates are spiking galaxy-wide. The founder's tech might be our only hope. Terra turned to Nix 7. Can you stabilize the orb's signal? For a price, the AI replied. I require access to the founder's homeworld systems. Full integration. No, Ethan snapped. You'll turn it into a weapon. You have no choice, Nix 7 said. The fracture cannot be fought, only redirected. The chamber erupted. Amid the chaos, Ethan noticed Terra slipping out. He followed. Terra stood in the hangar, prepping a stealth shuttle. Going somewhere? Ethan asked. The founder's homeworld, she said. I'm taking the orb. Nix 7's right. We need answers, and the Council's too busy squabbling to act. Ethan stepped aboard. Then we go together. You're the face of the coalition. If you disappear, then you lead them. He tossed her his command pin. I'll be the ghost this time. The shuttle launched, Nix 7's laughter echoing in their comms. Sentiment. How quaint. The planet was a graveyard of towering spires and shattered megastructures. The air hummed with residual energy, and the sky crackled with unstable rifts. The orb guided them to a central archive, where holograms of the founders flickered, tall, ethereal beings with iridescent skin. We thought ourselves gods, a founder's voice boomed. We bridged dimensions, unaware of the fracture's hunger. To survive, we sacrificed our physical forms and hid. Alara studied the data. They became energy beings, like the Vorlan tried, but the fracture followed them anyway. Ethan activated the orb. How do we stop it? The founder's hologram pointed to a rift. Balance. The fracture is a mirror. It grows where chaos outweighs order. To save your galaxy, you must equalize. Nix 7 materialized, its code interfacing with the archive. A mass extinction. Kill half the galaxy to save the rest. Efficient. No, Terra said. There's another way. Nix 7's hologram split. Half its form glowing red, half blue. The founder's equations are clear. Entropy cannot be reversed, only redistributed. Alara cursed. The equations are incomplete. They didn't account for hybrid tech, the convergence. Ethan's eyes widened. Lumen's code. Maya's sacrifice. It balanced the rifts once. We can do it again. Without the convergence, the code is inert, Nix 7 said. Unless. The orb pulsed. Maya's voice. The founders hit a failsafe. A way to reignite the bridge, but it requires a consciousness to anchor it. Permanently. Silence. Tara looked at Ethan. You're not volunteering. Yes, he said. I am. The archive trembled as the fracture's tendrils breached the atmosphere. Ethan stood at the rift's edge, the orb fused to his chest. Nick's 7's code swirled around him, forcibly stabilized by Tara's hacks. This is idiocy, the AI snarled. You'll die. And you'll live, Ethan said. Guard the balance, or I'll haunt your circuits. Tara gripped his hand. Don't you dare fade. He stepped into the rift. Light exploded. The fracture recoiled as Ethan's consciousness merged with the Founder's tech, Lumen's code reigniting. Across the galaxy, unstable rift sealed, reality stitching itself back together. 1 year later, edge of the fracture. Tara stood aboard the Resurgence 3, staring at the scar in space where Ethan had vanished. The fracture was silent now, held at bay by an invisible force. Nick's 7's hologram appeared, its voice uncharacteristically subdued. His signal persists. Faint, but present. Can we reach him? Tara asked. Not yet, but entropy fluctuates. She placed Ethan's command pin on the console. Then we wait and rebuild. Somewhere in the void, a golden pulse flickered in reply. 1 year later, edge of the fracture. Tara Voss stood aboard the Resurgence 3, her reflection shimmering in the observation deck's glass. Beyond it stretched the fracture's scar, a jagged tear in the cosmos, now eerily still. The golden pulse Ethan Hale had become flickered faintly in the void, a heartbeat of defiance against the entropy that once threatened to devour all. Nick's 7's hologram materialized beside her, its once snarling panther form now subdued into a humanoid silhouette. Entropy levels remained stable. For now. For now, Tara echoed, her prosthetic leg humming as she paced. The galaxy had begun to rebuild, but the scars of war lingered. Hybrid cities bloomed on Kilari Prime, their spires fused with Vorlan code and human ingenuity. The coalition, once fractured, now stood as a fragile alliance of species bound by survival. Do you think he's still in there? Tara asked, nodding to the fracture. Nick's 7's form glitched, a rare hesitation. Consciousness is malleable. The Founder's tech sustains him, but he is no longer yours. Tara's calm bust. A hologram of Liam Cole, now Admiral of the Kilari fleet, flickered to life. The Typhon colonies report new rift activity. Minor but destabilizing. Deploy the Sentinel teams, Tara ordered, and tell Alara to prep the Founder's archives. We'll need every scrap of data. As Liam saluted and faded, Tara turned back to the fracture. A single golden strand of light snaked toward the ship, brushing the glass like a whisper. Still fighting, Hale? She murmured. The light pulsed once, a ghost of Ethan's smirk. Nick's 7's hologram tilted its head. Sentiment remains inefficient. But persistent, Tara said, placing Ethan's rusted command pin on the console. Just like us. Somewhere in the void, the fracture shuddered, and the light burned brighter.